Good morning, everyone. I am Kanimoli, PhD research scholar under the guidance of Dr. P. Shanmugavadiyu ma'am from Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be University, Gandhigram, Dintikal. So, now I am going to explain about how artificial intelligence, machine learning can help in healthcare applications. So, for this purpose, I am going to take mammogram data set. So the mammogram data set is a mammographic mass data set which was taken from UCI repository. So this data set is a format of a CSV file data set. So in machine learning, so many types of data sets can be used like a CSV file, Excel files, and JSON files. Here I am going to use CSV file datasets. So machine learning can be used for many types of purposes, for classification as well as for predictions, for stock prediction, and then many types of recommender systems. So here we can also use many types of prediction in healthcare applications, whether the diseases are found or not, or whether we are in the which stage. We can classify the patient are in which stage, whether the patient are in very mild stage or very severe stage. Likewise, we can classify by using machine learning algorithms. So for using machine learning algorithms and classifying or predictions, we have to use the Python as the scripting language. So for using Python, there are many editors available for using Python. So here I am going to use Google Colab as the editor. So there are many types of editors available for applying Python as well as machine learning algorithms or deep learning algorithms. So there are two types of editors available. One is offline editors and the other one is online editors. So offline editors are the one which we can download the exe file, which means that we can download the backup and then we can install it in your own system and we can use it. So this is one type of offline packages, offline editors. And online editors are nothing but the cloud editors. So there are many types of cloud editors available in online. The most common thing is Google Colab. Google is providing a collaboratory which is called as Google Colab, and Amazon is providing Amazon Web Service, AWS, and Microsoft will provide Microsoft Azure. So these are some of the cloud services for applying Python and machine learning, deep learning applications. And offline applications, in the sense, we can download Anaconda Navigator, and then we can also import some Python IDLE file. So for by using these backups and by using these types of applications, we can use the machine learning applications in offline mode. So now I'm going this application. This machine learning application is used by Google Colab, is applied by using Google Colab, and Python is a scripting language. So I'm taking mammographic mass data set as the data set for predicting and classifying the disease. So this mammographic mass data set is used to predict the severity of the benign and malignant cases. So benign is nothing but non-cancerous, and malignant is a cancerous state. And in this data set, there are totally 961 rows available and 6 different types of columns available. So for example, here the data set, I'm just sharing the data set screen. So this is the data set. Here there are 6 types of columns. First one is buy rates, second one is age, third one is shape, and fourth one is margin, fifth one is density, and sixth one is severity. So these are the different types of columns available in this data set. And the rows here available is 961 rows here. So all the rows are in variety of format. All the values in the rows are in variety of format. And by using this data set, we can classify and predict the severity of a patient, whether if we give the column values, if we give the values for the particular column, then how the patients can be classified, whether the patient is very severe or whether the patient is a non-cancerous patient. Likewise, we can classify the patients. So this is the sample of data set, and then in this data set there are totally 961 rows. So out of 961 rows, there are 160 null values available. See here this is one type of null value, and this is one type of null value. So here there are so many null values available, and here also there are so many null values available, right? So in this case, if we directly upload this raw data set in the sense, then it will not be able to, we cannot able to apply the machine learning algorithms because there are some null values. So in order to remove those null values, we can either drop this null value rows as such, otherwise we can impute these null values. So for this purpose we can use data imputation methods. So there are many types of data imputation methods available. So imputation is nothing but filling some random values or filling some types of values in the missing data. So there are many types of imputations available: mean imputation, mode imputation, median, and then hot duck imputation. So mean imputation in the sense, if a column consists of missing values in the sense, then those missing values will be filled by the mean values of the overall column. So likewise, all the imputation values can be filled into those missing data place. So likewise, we can impute the data, otherwise we can just drop the data. And out of this 961 rows, there are 516 benign values and then 445 malignant case. So benign and malignant are the classification data. So 516 are the benign cases and then 445 are the malignant cases. So here, if we drop the null values, then finally 825 rows will be available. So for this purpose, I am going to use Google Colab, and I have to upload this dataset in the Google Colab. So I just show the code. So in order to implement the machine learning algorithms for classification of mammographic mass data set, I am just importing some basic libraries available in the machine learning and Python pandas. So Python. So the basic libraries here are pandas and numpy. So these are the very much useful libraries in order to apply the machine learning or deep learning algorithms. And then the next library I am going to import is test and train test split. So this is used to divide the data set into training set as well as the testing set. And the next library I am going to import is matplotlib library, which is used for data visualization purpose. So the first step we are going to use is the importing libraries, basic libraries. What are all the libraries we are going to import? Then all the libraries should be imported first. And then the next step is to read the dataset. So in order to read the dataset, first we have to find out in which format our dataset is available. So whether it is in the CSV format or it is in the Excel format. If it is in the Excel format, then we can type df.pdread. See here, df equal to pd.readExcelof. So this is the function used for importing the Excel file format into the machine learning application, to the Python. And this is the file path of the file. So just giving the path of the file, it will automatically download, import the file into this Google Colaboratory. And then df is used to print the data set. So it will print all the data available in this data set. So this data set, already I have told, 961 rows and 6 columns. So it will just show the sample of the rows available in the data set. And then this is the method for uploading or importing the data set into the editor in order to make the process. So the first step is to importing the library, and the second step is to upload the data set. And the third one is to pre-process the data. So after importing the data set, there are many noises available in the data. So in case of statistical data or clinical data, in the sense, in case of image data, in the sense, there are many noises like artifacts and then values like etc. There are many noises available. So in case of a CSV file or Excel file data, in the sense, there are some missing values available, or there are some outliers available, or there are some question marks or any symbols available in the data set. So in order to pre-process the data, there are many process available. So this is the overall format of the machine learning application for AI as well, healthcare as well as all the applications follow this type of flow chart. So first we have to import the data set, and then after importing we have to clean the data. So clean the data in the sense, if any noises or if any wrong values available in the sense, we have to clean the data, and then we have to apply future engineering. Future engineering in the sense, so in some of the data there are so many columns available which are not necessary. Which are not necessary is, for example, in this mammographic mass data set, so if we have some column like name in the sense, then we don't want to get the name of the patient, right? So this is unnecessary data, this is the unnecessary column. So those types of columns can be removed. So for this is the type of feature engineering, that means feature extraction. So the next, after data cleaning, we have to make the feature engineering process, and then after feature engineering we have to split the data into training, test and testing set. So the training test state and the machine learning algorithms can be applied to the training set data, and then it will after applying the algorithm, it will convert it into a trained model, and then after training the model should be stored, and after training the model, the testing data will be applied to those trained model, and then we have to get the score of the model. So after getting the score of the model, we have to evaluate whether the score, how the score is, how the performance of the algorithm is evaluated, how the performance is calculated, how the machine learning algorithm is used for applying the whether the data set are used for applying the machine learning algorithms, right? So this is the pre-processing step. This is the overall workflow of the machine learning model. And before starting the pre-processing, we have to check whether our data set has any null values or not. If our data set has any null values, then we have to drop the null value. This is one of the major step. So if we have very less number of null values in the sense, we can just drop the null values. Otherwise, if we have large number of null values in the sense, then if we drop the null values, then it may change in accuracy, or it may change the performance of the model. So we have to make careful while pre-processing. So here there are very less number of null values available in this data set, so we can just drop the null values. So after dropping the null values, so out of 961 rows, we can finally get 825 rows and 6 columns. So this is the final data set after pre-processing. So then I am going to split the input columns as well as the output columns. So the input columns are nothing but the X values, and the output columns are nothing but Y value. And here the bytes, age, shape, margin and density are the input columns, and the severity is the output column. We have to find the severity of the record, right? So this is the severity is act as a output field, and all other columns act as a input field. So in Y value, I just drop the severity column and then make all the other column as the X value. And in Y value, I just make the severity column as the main input value, right? So these are the this is nothing but the splitting X and Y values. And after splitting the X and Y values, we have to split the overall data set into training set and testing set. So in order to make this, we have to first import the train test split library first, and then after importing the train test split library functions, then we can give the function name like train test split. So train test split, inside the train test split, we have to pass the value of X and value of Y. So value of X is nothing but the input values, input columns, and value of Y is nothing but the output field. And in which ratio test size is equal to 0.3, which means we are going to split this data set in the ratio of 70:30. Because this test data will consist of the ratio of 30% of data set, and the other 70% will be stored in the train data set, right? So this is how the train test split will be done. And then after splitting the data set, we have to normalize the data. This is not a necessary purpose. If we have the same format or same range of data in our data set in the sense, then normalization is not needed. So if we have not any a formal range in our data set, because in our data set the values are like this. So bytes will have some some values, and age will have the range of 0 to 100, and then shape will have some range, and margin and density will have in some range, right? So in order to make all the values, all the row values in a common range, we have to make a normalization, right? So in order to make normalization, we have to first import the normalization library from sklearn import preprocessing, right? And then there are so many normalization functions available: min-max scalar, standard scalar, and then many feature range scalars available. So here I am using min-max scalar function, and in this min-max scalar I am just giving a range of the values in between 0 comma 1. So if we give the range as 0 comma 1, then all the values in the data set will be in the 0 and 1 range, within 0 and 1 range, right? So after setting the range, we have to transform the data. So here we have already split the data in xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest, right? So the values in the xtrain will be transformed into a normalized data, and then here the xtest value will be transformed into a xtest data. So here I am just printing the xtrain data and xtest data. See here all the values are in the range between 0 and 1, right? So this is the xtrain value. So here the xtrain value consists of 577 rows and 5 columns, and then xtest value consists of rows 248 rows, which means 70-30 percentage, right? So this is how the splitting is done. And then after splitting and after getting normalized data, then we are going to import machine learning libraries. So what are all the machine learning algorithms we are going to use? Then all the algorithm libraries, all the algorithm packages will be imported first. So for this purpose, I'm going to just import all the libraries here. So Ensemble is nothing but the combining two or more algorithms in as a single algorithm. So for that purpose, Ensemble packages imported, and then the mean absolute error and mean square error will be used for regression models. So these are some of the performance metrics used for performance analysis, and then joblib is used to store our model. So if we have a better model, in the sense if we have get the performance in some better machine learning model, in the sense, then we can store the model for some future use. And accuracy score is the performance metrics for classification. So these are some of the library packages, important libraries to import before going into the machine learning algorithms. So the first machine learning algorithm here using is decision tree algorithm. So in order to make this algorithm, we have to first import decision tree classifier, and after importing this library, I'm just using decision tree classifier function with the parameters, with the specified parameters: max leaf node, max depth, and criteria. So decision tree are nothing but it has some root nodes, and then it has one root node and different and child nodes, and then at last it has the leaf nodes. So we can here mention how many number of maximum leaf nodes we have to have, and then how many number of depths available, maximum depths available we have to have, and then what is the criteria for splitting the decision tree. So here there are many types of criteria, right? Like entropy, Gini index, and then information gain. So here I am giving entropy as the criteria. And then after calling the decision tree classifier, I'm just passing this function, passing this xtrain value and ytrain value into the classifier. So this fit is used to train the classifier by using xtrain value and ytrain value. So after training, we are going to predict the model by using this xtest value, by using predictor function. So after predicting, we are just finding the accuracy score. That means performance analysis is done here. Here by using y-test and prediction values. Here the prediction has the predicted values, and then the accuracy score will consist of the performance percentage between the y-test value and the predicted value, which means the y-test will consist of the actual predicted actual output value, and the prediction parameter consists of the predicted output value. So how the actual value and the predicted value has the correlation, that percentage will be stored in the accuracy score metric. And then this decision tree will consist of 0.83 percentage, which means 83 percentage for the mammographic mass data set. This is the type of applying machine learning algorithm for some particular data set, CSV or Excel file data sets. And the next algorithm I'm going to use is random forest data set. So before getting into this data algorithm, I am going to import this random forest classifier package. So after importing the random forest classifier, I am just calling this random forest classifier function, and inside this function I am just applying the parameters used for the random forest classifier. So here n estimators. This random forest classifier is an ensemble model because it consists of different types or different decision tree algorithms and form as a one random forest, right? So for those purpose, we are passing the parameter called n estimators. So this n estimators consist of number called 5000, right? So this 5000 is meant for how many number of decision trees is going to use in order to ensemble those decision trees for the random forest classifier, right? So here I'm mentioning the n estimators as 5000, and then max leaf node as 20, maximum depth as 12, and then we can also specify the minimum sample leaf also, and then maximum features also. So these are some of the parameters used to passing for random forest classifier. After calling the function, I'm going to pass xtrain and ytrain value to train the algorithm. So fit of function is used to train the algorithm by using the xtrain and ytrain. And then after training, I'm just predicting the value by using predict of function and passing the x-test value in order to predict the algorithm. And then accuracy score is used to find the performance metrics of the algorithm, and it shows 0.838, which means 84 percentage. So here the decision tree gives 83 percentage and random forest will gives 84 percentage. So JobLib is used to store the model. So this random forest classifier has the better performance while comparing. If we want to store such type of algorithms, if we feel this algorithm get better performance than other algorithms in the sense, then we can store this algorithm by using this JobLib function. So JobLib package is used to store the model. So inside the JobLib package, dump of function is used to store the model, and then in dump of function we are passing the classifier. Which classifier if we want to store the model in this, then that classifier will be passed here, and then this is the path of the path of the file. So in which path we are going to store the model in this, then that path will be given here. And this is the format of random forest classifier. So same like that, support vector machine classifier is also going to done. So here support vector classifier is going to imported here, and then support vector classifier function is calling. After calling the function, we are going to train the model by using xtrain and ytrain value. So after training the function, we can predict the function by using xtest value. So after prediction, we are going to find the accuracy score of the value by using the actual value as well as the predicted value. So after finding the accuracy score, the score will be 81 percentage here. So likewise, many algorithms are available. Here KNN algorithm is also used for finding the accuracy score. The value for the KNN algorithm is 81 percentage. And then gradient boosting algorithm. This is also one type of ensemble based algorithm. So this ensemble based algorithm is used according to the boosting model. So random forest classifier is also an ensemble model which applies based on bagging, and this gradient boosting algorithm is applied based on boosting algorithm. Here also we can use decision tree as the basic model, so that we are going to pass the parameter like n estimator equal to 4000, and then all the other parameters can be passed just like random forest algorithm, and then we are going to train the model, predict the model, and finding the accuracy of the model. So after finding, the accuracy will be 77 percentage. So next one is Navy Bayes classifier. So in Navy Bayes classifier, the classification algorithm here we are using is Gaussian Navy Bayes. So in order to use this, we have to import the classifier, and then calling the classifier function, and then training function will be called, and then predicted function will be called, and after prediction we are going to just call the accuracy score in order to get the performance of this algorithm. So here the performance is 79, roundedly 80 percentage is the performance for Navy Bayes classifier. So these are some of the algorithms, basic algorithms and basic functions available in order to get the performance of the machine learning algorithms. So after applying all the machine learning algorithms, just I'm comparing all the algorithm performances. So by using comparative analysis. So here I'm going to use pandas data frame in order to make a visualized visualized data table. So that I'm using pandas data frame. Here model is the caption and accuracy is the another caption. So inside the model I'm just giving all the models available, all the machine learning models available, and inside the accuracy column, I'm just storing all the accuracy scores inside the accuracy column. So after running this pandas data frame table, we will get this type of tables and rows. So in the model column, we can have all the machine learning algorithms, decision tree, random forest, SVM, KNN, gradient boosting, and Navy Bayes. And below the accuracy column, we can have the accuracy of all the corresponding machine learning algorithms. So after placing this type of tables, then we can plot the data. So visualization is going to done here. So for this purpose, we have just import the matplotlib library. So initially we have just import the matplotlib library, and here we are importing the functions inside the matplotlib library. So here I am going to just visualize the function performance in case of bar chart. So for example, if we are going to use bar chart in the sense, then bar of is the function. So if we give result1 dot plot dot bar of, then bar chart will be drawn here, visualized here. Here models, the figure size will be 8,8. These are some of the formatting options, and then y limit and x labels are given here, and then plt dot show off function is used to visualize the data. So here this is the visualized data. Here the x-axis consists of the models and the y-axis consists of the accuracy values, and here decision tree, all the machine learning algorithms are splitted here, and the accuracy values are given in the y-axis, and according to this visualized data, random forest will give the maximum accuracy while compared with all the other machine learning algorithms. So likewise, we can compare all the algorithms on, and we can apply those machine learning algorithms. We can also make tune some of the parameters inside the machine learning algorithms in order to get better performance. We can initially we have to first do a pre-process the data. So pre-processing is the main thing in order to get our performance better, right? So without pre-processing, our accuracy or performance will not be get better result. So the next parameter matrix is confusion matrix. So the confusion matrix are nothing but splitting the actual class and the predicted class, and visualize the actual class and predicted class as a true positive, false negative, false positive, and true negative values. So this true positive in the sense, if if the cancerous patients are correctly classified as cancerous patient in the sense, then that is true positive. And true negative in the sense, if the non-cancerous patient is correctly classified as non-cancerous patient, then that is called as true negative. And then false negative in the sense, if some patient has some cancer in the sense, then that will be considered as a non-cancerous in the sense, that is false negative. And then false positive in the sense, if some patient has cancer, then that can be considered as non-cancerous in the sense, then that is false positive cases. So this classification can be done by using confusion matrix. So in order to make this confusion matrix, just we are going to import the confusion matrix library, and then Seaborn is one of the visualization library. Instead of Matplotlib, we can use Seaborn. And then, so which algorithm we want to make confusion matrix, then that algorithm will be called here. Here, random forest gives the better performance, so that random forest classifier is called here. And then here, confusion matrix is going to apply, so that confusion matrix function is called here. And then these are some of the formatting options available for creating the confusion matrix. And after creating all the formatting options, then we are going to plot the function. So this is the resulted confusion matrix for the mammographic mass dataset by applying random forest classifier. So here the positive values, there are 1.1e plus 0.2, which means 110 number of cases are correctly classified as true positive, and 95 patients are 95 rows, which means 95 rows are correctly classified as non-cancerous patient, right? So the false data are only 17 and 23. So likewise, the random forest will give the 85% accuracy. So those 15% mismatched accuracy will have this type of 17 and 23 values. So likewise, we can get the performance analysis of any model by using machine learning algorithms, and by using this performance metrics like confusion metrics, as well as the visualization data, bar charts or pie charts, right? So these are some of the examples for applying machine learning algorithms for healthcare predictions and classifications. So we can also use many types of this is one of the major healthcare application. So we can also use many types of applications, healthcare data, like Parkinson data, and then heart disease and diabetic retinopathy. So there are many cases available. So we can also apply many types of machine learning algorithms and ensemble algorithms, and we can get the performance analysis. By using this, we can make predictions and we can make classifications in order to get better performances. Thank you.